Hey everybody, welcome back to League of Dungeoneers. This is our third video about this sandbox dungeon crawler that we've been playing and enjoying a lot of. I've seen a lot of comments on these videos, so thanks for checking out our journey so far with our party. When we ended our last video, we just completed the first scenario. It's kind of a tutorial scenario called First Blood. And at the bottom in the completion section of that scenario, it told us we continue our journey into our first settlement. And we made our character and we made our party. It showed us that our first settlement, or our starting settlement that we've been journeying to, is Kofel. You'll see Kofel right here on the list of settlements in the game. So the first thing that we see when we get to the settlement section is that when we enter into a settlement, we need to roll for random events. And we're going to roll a d12 and consult the table here to see if we've triggered an event. And in fact, on a 12 in Kofel, that's when we'll trigger it. So let's go ahead and roll that now. And we got a 5, so no random event for now. So once we're in a settlement, we have a bunch of activities that we can do, and there's a table in the book that shows you what is available to you. Each hero may perform activities worth 1 activity point per day, but performing an activity also means that you have to stay the night at an inn. The price for staying at an inn is for the entire party, regardless of its size, and not all activities are available at all settlements. You'll notice if you turn the page here, that we have a list of all the available actions we can do, including rest and recruit at an inn. It doesn't take an activity point to do it, but it does require you just to stay at the inn, meaning you're there and have to pay the cost. And you also see a list of activities that are available at every major settlement in the southern part of the kingdom. And we are in Kofel. This is a small village that relies, like most other villages, heavily on hunting and farming, but it is also where most of the metalwork in these parts of the kingdom is done. As I said, we're close to mountains, so that makes sense. Nonetheless, visitors are few and far between, and supplies tend to be scarce. The available services in the settlement we currently are in are blacksmith, and weapons availability is at a +1, and the price is at a -10%, so a little bit cheaper than some other settlements, possibly. There's also a general store here. Equipment availability is at -2, and the price is at +20%. We also have an inn here, which is good because we need to rest, I believe. It's 35 coins per party per night. And then we also have a temple to the god of Olnir. In one of the appendices farther back in the book, you'll see a sell and repair table. And when you visit a blacksmith, this is what you're going to refer to see how much it costs to repair the item, but also the sell value of that particular item. So what you want to do is look at the value of this item, and then you'll look at how many lost points of durability it has. That'll show you the sell value. Yeah, and then you'll see over here, the repair value, you'll just find the value once again of the item you're trying to repair, and look over and see how much it costs to repair your particular item. So our dwarf warrior Neely took a lot of hits in the last battle. He has some durability taken off of his padded cap, which has a value of 30. So if we wanted to repair that, we'll look at the line 30, go all the way down here. It's going to cost 5 gold to repair. Also, he took a lot of hits on his torso, his leather jacket, and so we'll look down at the value of that, which is 140, and that would cost a total of 28 coins to repair. So we're going to repair those, take away all of those coins. The jacket also took a good bit of durability damage, so we're going to look at its value, which is 120, and repair it for 24 more gold. This blacksmith's getting a lot of money from us today. And since we're already here, I think we'll go ahead and buy some more arrows for our ranger. We used up a good number of those. As you can see, they're 5 coins a piece according to the equipment appendix. The availability is a 4, plus the 1 we have here because we're in Kofel. So what we need to do to see if we can find a group of 5 arrows is roll a d6. And we want to get a 5 or less. That means they are going to be available and we'll find them. So here we go. And it's a 1. And I think we'll do it one more time. We'll go ahead and buy 10 arrows if we can. We've got a group of 5. And yeah, 1 once again. So we're able to buy 10 arrows for 10 coins for our ranger. We'll mark all that stuff on our character sheets. So even though each hero gets an activity point for each day, I think we're good for now. We don't want to spend any more money or do any more activities that we could possibly lose money in. So we'll just go ahead and rest. Since we did an activity, we need to rest in the inn here. So when we rest, we'll have to spend some coins, and health, luck, and energy are all recovered. Mana, luck, and energy are automatically restored, but each hero regains 2d6 HP per night. And once our luck is used after we've rested, we'd have to go back to a settlement to get that luck back. If we don't have enough money to stay at the inn, we only restore half of each stat and only 1d6, and then you have to leave town because you've slept in the stable and you've kind of been a freeloader. So let's go ahead and roll HP back for each of our heroes. First up is Neely, who needs it the most. They're going to get a pretty good roll, 10 back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're still, unfortunately, at half health. So he's going to go into the next quest wounded, which stinks. We lost HP for getting knocked out. That's not fun. Oh well. Monty is going to get back. He's only got hit once. He'll go to full. And Dorlin, our ranger, didn't ever get hit, but they got 5 back if they needed to. And Bomber, who had 3 hit points taken away, will go back to full. Actually, one thing I just noticed is that our weapons and weapons availability, we're actually at a price drop of 10%. So we'll get a little bit of gold back for, actually 1 gold back we'll get back for the arrows we bought. I think I've decided to actually spend another day wandering around Colfell, and this time we're going to go over to the general store just so we can rest one more night and possibly get Neely back to under wounded status. We're going to go to the general store, and I think we'll buy a couple pieces of beef jerky if we can. The availability is 5, but it's going to be -2 because of the Colfell general store, so we need to roll a 3 or less. And the price is going to be plus 20%. So let's go ahead and roll and see if we can buy some beef jerky here. They don't weigh anything, but they have a durability of 1. So here we go. We need to roll a 3 or less, and we got a 5, so we're not able to do it. Since we have 4 party members, I think we'll go ahead and just roll one more time to see if we can get another piece of beef jerky. And we did. We got a piece. So we'll subtract our gold for that and add that to our backpack. So we're going to mark off another 35 gold for spending one more night in the inn. All of our party is at full health except for Neely. We'll roll 2d6 to heal them up. And a pretty good roll. They'll take 7 healing. And they are at full as well. So we have a fully healed party after spending 2 nights licking our wounds from the bandit attack and doing a bit of shopping. In the morning, we can embark on the first quest of a campaign. So whenever the party is in a settlement, they may either start an available campaign, or we can roll and choose a random quest. And we're not going to do that right now. We're just going to choose a campaign that's suggested to us, which is the Dead Rising campaign. Taking on daily quests requires careful planning and preparation. Therefore, leaving on a quest is always done early in the morning. So no other settlement activities are allowed on that particular day. So if we flip towards the very end of the book, it's at the beginning of Quest Book 1, we see the Dead Rising campaign. Here it says, the dead never rest easy in the kingdom. But lately the reports of stirring bodies have been alarmingly high. The reason why some dead refuse to stay dead is a mystery. Perhaps it is due to some unfinished business that denies the person its eternal rest, or possibly the soil of the grave is tainted by the void. However, as this repeatedly occurs, it seems likely that there is a definite reason behind the stirring. Maybe the king's decision to allow expeditions south has once again triggered the undead curse, or perhaps there's something else behind this. This campaign starts wherever the heroes are, but the second quest must be started in Silver City. So we'll have to travel to the capital after this particular quest. This is quest 1, spring cleaning. You've been tasked by the local town elder to clear out the basement of the town hall. This basement has been closed off for several years, but a recent invasion of large rats in the village has led the local rat catcher to think that their nest is in this building. However, the size of the rats is somewhat on the larger side, and he has refused to enter the basement, exclaiming, "'Tis ain't normal with them bastards growing that size. Devilry, I tell ya." Large-sized rats or not, this should be an easy task for your hardy heroes. The Jarl says that there is nothing of value down there, but that you are free to take anything you find. We have a start threat level of 2, a minimum threat level of 2, and the max threat level is 18. This location is in any town, and there are some special rules here we want to make sure we familiarize ourselves with. When the threat level reaches 12, a wandering monster will appear regardless of the scenario die result. For this quest, only the party may gain the benefits of the rest rule. We'll find more about that on page 86, without consuming any food rations. It's a little bit of a free rest there, which is nice. But learn from your experience and remember to bring rations, because the gods will not be so friendly next time. We've got a number of tiles here we use to build the dungeon. It's 4 corridors, but we take out C16, and 4 rooms, but not R17. Our reward is 100 coins per hero. Encounters are quest specific. We see the encounter table over here. And the objective room, aka the room we're trying to find, is R5B. So when it comes time to build out the deck for the dungeon we are trying to delve into, we go ahead and consult these number of tiles that we looked at, and we remove any not numbers that we see here. So for instance, if you're putting together a corridor deck, you take out C16, the room deck, you take out R17. You want to shuffle all those cards, and then you want to draw 4 of each and give them a good shuffle. Shuffle them all together, actually, and then split the deck evenly. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At that point, you want to make sure you grab the objective room card and shuffle it into one of the sides, and that's going to become the lower portion of the full deck. And then we're ready to go. And here we have our party of adventurers. They're all ready to go on the starting tile, and we've put a closed door here at the beginning of the dungeon. Once we have our dungeon deck, we place it right next to the first closed door. And we're about ready to begin. So we're going to make sure we're going to roll for that. So at the beginning of our turn, we always start by rolling a scenario die. And on a 1 to 8, we just start our turn by moving the heroes. Each hero gets 2 action points, as they did in the beginning scenario, the first blood scenario. However, if we roll a 9 or 10 on that D10 scenario roll, we then roll against our threat level. And if we get a 20, we get to lower our threat by 5. But if we roll above our threat level, we're going to raise it by 1. Nothing is particularly going to happen. But if we roll below or equal to our threat level, we're going to roll on the threat table and execute the result. That's how the scenario die works. But we actually don't have to roll the scenario die when we're outside this very first dungeon door. So the only thing we have to do is open this door. When we open a door, we always increase the threat level by 1. Our starting threat is 2. But on this one, we don't have to do that. We also don't have to check and see if this door is locked or trapped. It just happens to be a welcoming, non-threatening door. So we're going to choose one of our heroes to open that door now. As you can see, we've put all of our exploration cards right here by this first door. This is the only option we have to move through at the moment. So when we open the door, we draw the top card of the exploration deck and see what we have. So let's go with Neely, our dwarf warrior, and we're gonna use his first action to open this door. What we've got is a large dining hall. So the party enters a large dining hall that appears to be some kind of a large hall that appears to be some sort of this text is funny. Okay. The party enters a large hall that appears to be some kind of dining hall. There are several tables with chairs placed in the room, and in one corner is a large fireplace. It is difficult to say when it was last used, but the tables are filled with plates of old food. Alongside one wall is 2 armored mannequins covered in cobweb. There are 3 tables in the room. They are considered dining tables for searching purposes, and the mannequins may also be searched. So you'll notice up here we have a door symbol and a number of doors. One of the doors, the one that we went through, is considered to be one of these 2, and that means we're going to place a door somewhere else on this tile as well. This is a reference number as well. And yeah, we'll find this tile, put it out, and continue our delve. So we swapped out this closed door for an open door. We got both in the version of League of Dungeoneers that we've got. We've got the map tile out. Now we need to decide where to put the second door that was referenced on our dungeon tile. It's right here. Where do we want to put it? I guess we could just kind of continue going straight through. And then we move our exploration deck, because this is the only other place we can encounter corridors or rooms, right by this door now. All right. The last thing we need to do to check and see if we're all set up when we're placing a tile is roll for an encounter. The chance to encounter something depends on what tile we've placed down. So in a room, we have a 50% chance of encountering enemies, and in a corridor, we have a 30% chance. So we're going to roll a D100, and 0 to 50, we encounter some enemies, and we'll roll on the encounter table that's specific to this scenario. And above that, we won't worry about any enemies here in the dining hall. So what do we have here? All right, we got a 68, so nothing encountered in this particular room. Now I'll continue Neely's turn. Neely has one more action point left, so they can move 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll say they're right here, ready to search that table. With our other heroes, we can just double move and make way through the dining hall here. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Scramble up there on top of that table. And that'll be the end of our first turn in this delve. At the start of our next turn, we need to roll the scenario die. On a 9 or 10, something happens. It's an 8, so nothing happens. And now we can just go ahead and go with our turn. I think we'll get our ranger to move and start heading towards the door. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Neely is going to search this table. So furniture is the collective name for all sorts of features here in the dungeon, and the card told us that these are dining tables, or there are 3 tables in the room. They're considered dining tables for the searching purposes. The mannequins can also be searched. So let's go ahead and find that section. So check our treasure table here. There's a dining, whoops. We'll check our treasure table down here. There's a dining table section. On a 1 to 4, we find a ration. 5 to 10, we find nothing. So we're searching this table up here with Neely. And nothing. Found nothing on that table. Go ahead and get Monty to search as well, and then move. Oops. 6 again. So I move 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I think a rogue's going to move up here and search a mannequin. 1, 2, 3. All right, so it says that these are armor-covered mannequins, or it says these are armor-covered mannequins, so I'm not sure if they're going to count as like an armor rack or a statue. There's a statue over here, right? But it makes more sense to me that they'd be an armor rack. There's no mannequin section, so we're gonna roll for an armor rack when we search. Right, and it's a 6. That means nothing, right? So not much here in the dining hall so far. Right, new round. Neely still had one more action point. We need to do that first. We'll move them 1, 2, 3 to this other mannequin here. And that will be the end of that turn. So let's roll a scenario die. And we got a 5, nothing happens. All right, so first off, I think we'll have Neely roll for the armor stand again. 1 to 4, we find some armor parts. That's a 9, so nothing once again. So they'll move 1, 2, 3, 4. That's their activation. A rogue's gonna double move 1, 2, 3, 4. Could they open the door there? They could possibly open the door there. All right, so I'm not sure if this is considered adjacent or not. That's something I need to dig into a little bit more, but we'll just say for now it's not. You need to just kind of be right in front of the door. Because this would be, if this was an enemy, this would be adjacent, but I don't know. So we go another movement there. And then I think Monty's gonna search this table. 1 to 4, we get a ration. Nope, another 9. And then they will move. Or actually, we'll go first here and open this door. We'll go 1, and we'll say Monty moved here, but we'll go ahead and open a door. Now, since we're inside the dungeon, we now need to increase our threat by 1. Our starting threat was 2, so it's gone up to 3. And we need to make 2 rolls here to decide if the door is locked or trapped. On a 6 on the D6, the door would be trapped. And we roll a D10 as well to see if it's locked. On a 1 to 6, it won't be, but on a 7 to 10, it is going to be locked. And there are incremental hit points as well as difficulty to the picking of the lock, depending on what we roll. So let's roll these 2 dice now. So it's not trapped and it's not locked. So we're able to open this door. We'll draw a card, and it's the small study, okay? This room has a stained wooden floor and seems to be some kind of study. There is a table along the wall and a bookshelf along the opposite wall. Besides the table, there is a small chest. The table, chest, and bookshelf can all be searched. And there's only 1 door in this small study, so we have found a dead end. We'll get this tile out, we'll make some encounter rolls, we'll figure out if we want to search this or not, and then we'll figure out what to do on a dead end. So here's the small study. We placed it this way because we cannot place a doorway in a section that would interact with any furniture. So the bookshelf and the desk over here would block this door if we put them on either of these sides, and so we decided to put this over on this side. We could put it over here as well, but we just decided to put it over here. Let's roll an encounter. So 1 to 50, we have some enemies because this is a room. And we got a 55. Oops, that was just out of frame there. So 55 keeps us from having to fight anything. So for now, we use the rest of our movement, and this, I know I kind of went out of sequence here, but we'll move 1, 2 for the other action we had here, and then Monty will finish his turn and say he went 1, 2, 3, 4. That makes sense. All right, and that'll be the end of that turn. So on page 74 in the rules, we can see that if we find a partial dead end, we can move all the cards to other areas of the dungeon if there are other possible routes, but that is not the case. We have found a total dead end, And if for some reason there's no way for the party to explore further, a secret door may be placed in an appropriate room chosen by the party, and all unturned cards remaining in the deck are moved to that door. So there we have it. We are probably just going to keep going this way. We'll add a door here somewhere, but that's the end of this particular turn. So let's go to the next one. We'll roll scenario die. And it's a 1, so we're good there. So I think we'll do some searching before we go ahead and find a secret door. And this is thematic. We can say perhaps Dorlin pulled a book and opened up the bookshelf and found a secret door. We'll go ahead and just place it here before we do some searching. All of our exploration cards are now here. So Dorlin is going to search. We'll check the table and see what bookshelves could possibly rot. So here in bookshelves, we see on a 1 and 2, we can find a find treasure. On a 3 and 5, we'll find a scroll. We'll randomize what spell it contains using the spell tables. And on a 6 to 10, we get nothing. So here we go. And it's an 8, so nothing again. Goodness. We'll do some more movement. 1, 2. Be ready to open this next door. Monty will move in here. 1, 2. We can search the desk, where this would technically be a table. Study table. On 1 to 4, we find a mundane treasure. On the 5 to 10, we find nothing. Come on, Monte. 2. Ooh, we got a mundane treasure. So let's grab that deck and we'll draw from it. So here's our stack of mundane treasures. We went ahead and give it a good shuffle, and we're going to throw over an ingredient, a well-prepared dried ingredient ready for your potion. Maybe you'll have more use for it than the previous owner. We get 1d3 ingredients, roll in the ingredient table to determine exactly what you've found. All right. All right, so here is the ingredients table in the quick reference compendium. We get 1d3 of those. So we're going to roll a d6 and divide that to see how many parts we get. So 1 part. And we're going to roll a d20 to see what it is exactly that we get. That's a 12. So on a 12, we get a weeping clover. We'll go ahead and put that in our backpack. We'll do that in a bit. And for now, we're going to finish all of our movement, I believe. We'll move Monty up here. I think Neely's going to double move and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to be right here at the door, ready to go. And we're going to move our halfling. He's got a little crooked when we move things around. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to go ahead and search this chest. So similarly to how we have to check a door to see if it is trapped or locked, we have to check a chest as well. And the last thing we're going to do on our turn is we've kind of resolved where our party wants to end up. I'm going to try to stop jumping around so much because I'm just trying to keep it all balanced and do movement before I forget to do the actions and that kind of thing. So apologies for that, but I will go ahead and do this chest. We roll a d6 on a 6. We're going to see if it's trapped. And on a 7 to 10, the chest is also going to be locked. So here we go. We got a 4 on the d6, so it is not trapped. And we got a 6, so it is not locked either, which is wonderful. All right. And I should also mention that just as you do with a door, you increase threat by 1 when you open a chest. That should be your first step as well. You can see that kind of on this flow chart that we've been following here. So now we get to roll on the treasure table of the chest to see what we found inside. So here we see the chest section of the treasure table, and there's a lot of good options here. We only have to roll a 9 or 10 to get nothing, but let's go ahead and roll that now and see what happens. And it's a 2, meaning we're going to get 2 find treasures, which is great. Similarly to the mundane treasures, there's a deck for fine treasures. So we're going to draw 2 of them. The first one we get is a part. So encased in a small glass jar, this part has been expertly harvested. One exquisite part. This can be used to brew supreme potions. Use the table in the rulebook to decide from what creature the part is, then roll on the table to see what part of the creature it is. All right. And secondly, leather armor. A piece of leather armor, but used but not too shabby. On a d6, we'll see what kind it is, what it's worth, and we'll also see its durability hits. So here's our dice tray. Its condition is losing all 4 points of damage we could have possibly rolled. So we'll make a note of that, and make a note of which part we found. Continue our next turn. Okay, so let's go ahead and roll for our leather armor to see what type it is. It took 4 points of damage, and it is a 2, meaning it's a leather vest. So we'll pick that up. It's worth 80 gold. For our part, we've got this table here to roll on. We'll roll a d100 to see what particular creature this is from. All right, and it's 11. So on 11, it's a centaur. And down on 11, looks like we have a centaur piece. And we'll roll a d10 to see the specific part we got. And with a 4, looks like it is centaur blood, a jar of centaur blood. Gross. We'll put it in the backpack. All right, so we're on to the next round. We need to roll a scenario die, and it looks like a 10. So we're gonna have to roll against our threat. So our current threat level is only a 4, so it shouldn't be too hard to do, although these feel like famous last words. Here we go. 18, so nothing happens on the threat roll. And of course, since that threat roll is above our current threat level, we actually increase our threat level by 1. So we're now at 5. So next up, the heroes get to go. We're going to open a door with our ranger. First, we need to see if it's locked or trapped. It is trapped and is locked. Highest rolls we could get there. So when a trap is found, we need to go ahead and just draw a trap card, and then we'll roll a perception check to see if our ranger noticed it was trapped or not. So we'll move the dice out of the way. Here's our trap deck, and here's what we have here. It's a collapsing roof with a terrifying rumble. Parts of the roof collapse upon the heroes. Huge blocks of stone risk crushing everything. Randomize 1d6 squares on the tile where the trap is triggered that are struck by falling debris. Any character standing in such a square takes 3d6 damage unless they dive away with a successful dex test. In such a case, move the character to an adjacent square of any choice. Any bridge struck will collapse and everyone on the bridge will fall. Gosh, okay. So you notice a few things here on this trap card. If it's triggered, we have sanity -2 and party morale -1, but we do have a chance to not trigger it if we roll a successful perception check, which right now there's no particular modifier that changes. And let's look at the hero who triggered the trap. That is Dorlin, our elf. Since he's a ranger, I'm hoping our perception is pretty good. I don't quite remember. It's decent. Okay, it's actually a 52. So we'll look right here and we'll roll a perception check to see if we trigger the trap without noticing it. All right, so our perception is 52. There's no particular modifier here. We need to get less than that to succeed this perception check. And we got 10. 10 total. So we see that there is a trap. So now we can leave the trap alone, or someone from our party may move up and try to disarm the trap. And that's exactly what we're going to do with our party. Let's look and see which of our party has the best disarm. In this case, it would actually be a pick lock skill. Dorland has a 68, which is pretty good, but he's used an action point. Our rogue has 67, and our wizard has 12. Our rogue is going to be the way to go here. Here's the thing, though. If we fail, the trap is set off. And then we're going to suffer all of this stuff and have to do all these things. So we're going to hope that we're not going to fail here. We also want to note that we have a -10 to this check, so we actually need to get a 52 instead of, what is it? No, I'm sorry. 57 instead of 67, because this is a little bit harder with the collapsing roof trap. So we'll say that our rogue bomber is going to just walk in here, try to disarm this trap. Oh, he's got to do it for 2 action points, though. It's the only thing. Okay, so one other thing important to note is that we have to have lock picks to use the lock picking skill, which we do have with our rogue character. In order to use lock picks, they have to be up here in our quick slot gear, which we can move gear and equipment around, but it costs a couple action points to do that. So it's a good thing we have a quick slot here with lock picks. We have to have those in order to do the lock picking skill. So I think what we'll do for the rest of our turn is just kind of move our party around, so Bomber will be ready to go next turn. I guess he can stay here. He doesn't need to. We'll do this actually. Move everybody around. I'm sure we have enough movement to do all that. And we'll go to the next round. D10, 7, so no threat roll needed. And now it's time to pick a lock. So first up, we're gonna have Bomber roll this pick lock skill. Check. It's gotta be a 57. So a decent chance, a little over 50%. Here we go. And it's an 84, so that is a failure. Not good at all. If we fail to pick the lock, we suffer the effects of the trap. If we fail to pick a lock, we trigger the trap, unfortunately. Our sanity is going to be -2, and our party morale is going to be -1. We also lose 1 party morale for triggering a trap, so we're down from 16 to 14. And Bomber's sanity is down to 8. We have 2 characters that are down from 10 to 8. All right, let's go ahead and familiarize ourselves with what happens here. Randomize 1d6 squares on the tile where the trap is triggered that are struck by falling debris. So let's go ahead and see how many are struck. It's going to be 4. 4 squares are struck by falling debris. So we've got 16 squares on here. I say we roll a d20, and anything over 16 we just re-roll. So we need to do this 4 times to see where the falling roof is collapsing. And we'll start at the top and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, up to 16. So first one is 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's a miss. Second one is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So our wizard is possibly going to get hit. He needs to do a dex test. Monty's dex is probably not very good. It's 22 or 32. It's not a dodge test, it's a dex test. So it is higher than a dodge would be. All right, so on a 32, we miss. And it's a 74. So we're going to get hit with 3d6, which is not good for Monty. He only has 10 HP, and he's going to be hit with 6. So he's down to 4. He is wounded. All right, so 2 more collapsing roof parts to go. Next one is cocked. 9 again over here. And last one, 8. So Bomber. Dex test for him, 57. And got it, 44. He dodges out of the way, so he's got to move here. All right, that was nasty. So that's enough for that. Trap's gone. We'll move on here. Okay, so now that we've thoroughly been bludgeoned by a roof, I think now would be a good time to see how rests work. If there are no enemies on the current tile that we're on or any adjacent tiles, our party can rest. So we get to do a lot of things here. At this point, I think it'd be good to do this since Monty got pretty beat up by the roof as well. So we're going to arrange heroes that we see fit. So I think what we'll do is actually we're going to move this character here. We're going to put our Ranger and Rogue next to this door, this beefy door. I forgot to mention that we get a -20 to this roll as well. So it would have been even harder to pick this lock than we did. We failed, so it's not that big a deal, but it should have been even harder to succeed. So I think what we're going to do is trade some equipment. We can do this freely as well. We can rearrange gear on each of our heroes if needed, and maybe also exchange gear between heroes. So I'm going to give Dorlin a few of these lock picks. I'm going to give him 3, and Bomber is going to hold on. Well, it's just we have 4 left. I assume we spend them when we use them. So Dorlin's going to take 2. And Bomber's gonna have 2. That'll be all the lockpicks we have, and I guess if that's it, we just kind of fail the mission. I don't know what to do if we can't get through a door. We could bash it down, but I really don't want to do that. Well, we have a couple chances here. It's 2 AP, so we've got kind of 2 turns to make this happen. So we get to lower our threat by 5, meaning we're going to be at 0 threat, which is awesome. Increase our party morale up 2. So we're back up to 16 for that. Well, and actually, we should have gone up 2 morale for the fine treasures that we found. So we have 18 party morale right now, which is good. Finding a fine treasure gives us +1 morale each, and also taking a short rest gives us 2. So we have full party morale right now. We're up to 20. It's much better than my morale, to be perfectly honest. Okay. We do need to make a threat roll, but it can't be lower than our current threat level since our current threat level is actually 0, right? So it's a 4. Can't be lower than that, so we don't roll on the table, but we do increase threat back up to 1. Let's see if there's anything else we need to do. We would deduct a ration food from the party, but since this is kind of our first delve, we don't have to spend any food rations normally. And we increase HP with 1d6 for each character. All right, so hopefully Monty can get some HP back. Here's Monty's roll. It's 4. We'll get 4 points back. He's up to 8. So he's no longer wounded. That's good. All mana would come back if we had used any. We can also replenish energy points, but we haven't spent any. Wandering monsters would move, but there aren't any on the table. That is our rest, so let's start a new round. So scenario dice goes out, a 9 or 10, bad things happen. It's a 10, so we need to roll a threat. We need to roll below our current threat level, so we need to roll a 0. It's a 19. If it was a 20, we would decrease threat by 5, but We're only at 1 threat right now because of our rest and the treasures we found and how awesome we're doing, apparently. But as you can see, this game will turn on a dime. So that is that sorted. We are now going to move into the heroes' turns. And I think what we're going to do is just make 2 picklocks checks with our rogue and our ranger. They cost 2 AP. And our wizard and our warrior are just going to hang out. We'll make scenario rolls in between. When we try to pick a lock, it doesn't increase threat any further. So I think we can just do this until we use up all our lock picks, and then what we'd have to do is just bash the door down, which I really don't want to do, but we're going to see if any of these rolls succeed. So now that the trap is disarmed, and I'm assuming it's disarmed because it went off. I don't think it would go off and drop the roof on us over and over again. That's how my logic reads the trap section of the rules. And also we don't get the -10 modifier because of the trap on this lockpick skill. We only get the -20 for it being the hardest lock ever. And it kind of makes sense. We found a hidden passage in a bookshelf and it's trapped and really locked. So thematically, this is really cool. And this game has a lot of chances to do this. So here's what we're going to do. First up, the highest picklock skill we have, and we did switch a couple lock picks over to Dorlin. He's got 2 chances because he has 2 lock picks, and Bomber, our rogue, has 2 lock picks as well. So here we go. Yeah, 2 AP lock pick skill at -20. So his skill is 68, so we need to get a 48 in order to succeed. And we got a 43, so Dorlin successfully picks the lock. The beautiful elven ranger. My goodness, that's my favorite. That's my dude, my guy right there. Okay, I'm just really excited because I was feeling terrible about this. All right, the door has been opened. Dorlin has spent his 2 action points, and the rest of the party can go, which is awesome. Okay, well, we erase 1 lockpick. This door is open, and we get to draw an exploration card. So let's see what we have. All right, it's going to be a corridor. There are 2 different openings in this corridor, which each are covered by heavy wooden doors. Okay, we'll find tile C18, and we'll put out another door. This has been a very linear dungeon so far, but that's how it goes with the randomization. All right. No other special rules. We will roll for an encounter, which the chance on an encounter is under 30. Let's get that tile out. All right, the tile is out, and we now have a 30% chance of triggering enemies on our encounter table that is specific to this dungeon delve, and it needs to be a 30 or lower. So here we go, and we got a 67. So no enemies on this particular tile. We're just moving on through. There's nothing much going on except for collapsing roofs. Dorlin has used all of his actions, so we're going to go ahead and move our rogue and go 1, 2, 3. And I guess we'll just go ahead and open this door. I've made a weird flat place here. So let's go ahead and open this door. We'll increase our threat by 1. Because we're opening a door. Let's see if it's trapped and or locked. No trap, thank goodness, but we do have a lock here. On a 7, it's the kind of baseline lock. So no additional change to our lock picking check here, but we don't have enough action points to do any more. What we'll do is just move our friends in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And that is that turn. Start of the next round, we'll roll the scenario die. It's a 2. No need to roll against threat. And we're going to do a lockpick skill check with Bomber. He's got a lockpick left, or a couple of them, actually. All right, so 67 check. Yeah, 15. We open the next door. And we have burial chamber. The chamber feels small, and the air is completely still. Leaning up against the wall are 2 coffins, and they can be searched. Okay, let's get that tile out. This has been an incredibly linear dungeon so far. It's very interesting. We're keeping the deck by the only way to go, the only door. Let's go ahead and roll for an encounter. This is at 50. This is the 4th consecutive tile that we've placed down that does not have an encounter. So we actually are going to subtract. So the chance is increased by 10 until an encounter is increased. So this is going to be 0 to 60. We find enemies. Here we go. And it's a 7. So no enemies yet. Wow. There's our roll there so you can see it. All right. Moving on. So Bomber's the only one that used 2 actions. We'll go ahead and move our dwarf in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here behind the door. I know it's a little hard to see. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. These guys could search. We'll go ahead and do double movement here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, we can search. We have 1 action point left with our wizard as well as our dwarf. So let's go ahead and do the search actions with them. We'll find the treasure tables for the sarcophagus. So here we go. Here's coffins. 1 to 2, find treasure. 3 to 8, nothing. 9 to 10, you awaken a zombie. Randomly place it next to the coffin and determine initiative and begin battle. So here we go. Here's our D10. Monty's searching this one. He's got a 9. So we awaken a zombie. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 will be down here. We'll move this door for now. Let's get some combat tokens out. All right, here is our zombie card. It is a lower undead. It's got a combat skill of 40, range skill of 0. It's got a 1d8 plus 1 damage, 25 resolve, no different to hit bonuses, no natural armor, 4 movement, 10 dex. It's slow, so it can only move once per turn. It can't do a double move, but it has fear 2, so you have to do a resolve test to attack it. If you fail, you get -10 to your combat, ranged, or arcane art skill. It's only at 12 hit points. And we roll on the T1 treasure table if we take it out. So we have put 1 enemy chit in the bag. We've got 4 hero tokens or chits for them, plus 1 for our perfect hearing perk. And we're ready to do some initiative here. All right, so we've got some tokens here. We're ready to go. Let's see who gets to act first. First up is going to be a hero. So I think we'll go ahead and just take an attack with our dwarf. They need to make a resolve test first, however. So they are not necessarily afraid. The resolve is not very good because of the trait that they got, which is the fraud. All right, so Neely's resolve, unfortunately, is just a 25. He gets 10 because of disciplined. Let me double check what that is. Oh, so we get plus 10 because we're disciplined, so it's going to be a 35, or else we're minus 10 to our combat skill. So let's put this, let's see, we'll put this up over here. This table's getting very crowded. So 35, lest we are afraid. And it's a 73, so we are afraid. It's got fear 2. That's the level of fear it has. So we're getting minus 10 with our combat skill here, but that's okay. It's decent. It's 58. No, I'm sorry, it's 40, so it's only gonna be a 30 to hit. Let's try it anyway. 99 is not gonna do it. Wow, 99. Let me see if that's a fumble or not. Okay, we barely missed a fumble there. 99 is 1 away to the 100 we would have needed to attack and drop our weapon and break it. So we get another chance here. Let's try again. Just a 30 to attack. Come on, buddy. We rolled a 99 again. What are the chances there? He's really afraid. Yeah, I normally try to roll again if it comes out of the tray. But yeah, we're not doing a whole lot of nothing with our poor fraud of a dwarf. All right, let's go back to the bag. Also, remember, if you fail a fear test, which we did with Neely, our dwarf, we lose a sanity. So we are down to 7 sanity. Also note that the level here is the level our heroes need to be above in order to not have to test for fear. So let's go to the bag here. Got another hero. Oops. Let's put that there. All right, so let's go ahead and attack with Dorlin. With our range skill, we'll just go point blank right there, like we are. Before we take an attack with Dorlin, we need to do a resolve test. So for us here, it is 40. We get plus 5 because of the discipline of our dwarf. That's one good thing about them. So less than a 45, it's a 70. So we also are afraid. Goodness. So we're going to be at minus 10 of this here zombie. So we need a 68. And we'll start by aiming because we start with a loaded weapon. So that's going to give us plus 10 back. So we'll go back up to 78. And we're going to roll an 8. All right, so that'll definitely hit. There's no modifier here. So let's go ahead and roll damage. Damage for the longbow is a D12. Let's roll that. And it's 4. So the zombie takes 4 damage. Go back to the bag. Make sure that we know our bow is unloaded. And we'll put 4 tokens out on the zombie. And go back to the bag. Whoops. We have another hero. So we could do, kind of want to do this. I kind of want to let Bomber go. And we'll move 1 movement, 2 movement, and scramble up on top of this coffin and to try to get a height advantage on it because we're short. We probably need it. Actually, it doesn't seem like the coffins can be climbed on. It says they must always be climbed on some of the other things. Well, I guess they could be climbed on because it's not must be climbed. So we'll say we climbed up there with 2 movement points, and we're going to take a roll here to see if we are afeared. Bomber's resolve is Pretty good. 46. We'll do +5 because of Neely. So 51. 65. We are also afraid. So -10 here. For this attack, we're doing with our short sword. It's 58. We'll call it 48. See if this happens with our other action point. 59. Nope, not going to do it. We are all surrounding this zombie, and we are not having a good time. We're the ones afraid. All right, here we go. Zombie's turn. So, let's look at their lower undead card here. None of these things apply in the basic rules. They're just going to attack according to the table. Roll a d6, see if they do a standard or power attack. They will not avoid traps, and they can climb objects. We'll roll a d4 to see which hero they attack, because everybody's in range. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going for Dorlin here. Let's roll an attack. The combat skill is 40. And they got a 91, so no effect on that attack. Last person to go is going to be our wizard. Let's see what they can do here. So we could do Hand of Death. You know what? Let's actually just do, so our combat skill isn't necessarily affected here. Let's do a flare. Let's see if we're afraid. What is our wizard's resolve? 37 plus 5, 41. 40. Our wizard is not afraid. So I think we'll do one action move. Move 2 away, and we'll shoot a flare out with a magic missile quick destruction spell. Casting value is 8. It's 15 mana. So let's roll Arcane Arts to see if it goes off. Arcane is 60. And it's 83. Of course it doesn't. So, no more damage going out on the zombie there. All right, so at this point, everything goes back in the bag. We'll lose one of our hero tokens because we only get the perfect hearing bonus for 1 round. Also got to remember, when we fail a fear test, we lose a party morale for that. So we were at max party morale, and we had 3 failed fear tests, so we should be down to 17. All right, here we go. 5 chips in the bag total. Beginning of a new round. Let's go ahead and see if we need to roll against our threat. And it's a 7, so no need to roll there. Neely is going to go. Let's test our fear again. Solve is a 35. Come on, buddy. 59. Nope, we're still afraid. So let's take 2 attacks. Should we do a power attack? Maybe we do a power attack. He's really frustrated at this point. Let's do a power attack. So we're going to have plus 20 to our CS, but we're afraid, so it's really just going to be a plus 10. And our combat skill is going to just be a 50. So we need 50 to hit here. And we got a 93. So not going to happen. Let's get a token out to show that we did a power attack. Now we're easier to hit. And here we go, back in the bag. Got another hero. Let's have old reliable Dorlin go. First action point, we'll reload the weapon, then we'll take a shot. First we need to do a fear test though. Dorlin's resolve is going to be a 40 plus 5 because Neely's standing, so 45. 51. We're afraid, so -10 here. We're going to attack for 68. And that's going to be a 53. So we're going to hit. Let's roll some damage with the bow. It's a D12. Seven. It's got 1 hit point left. I'm real quickly going to go ahead and roll another attack because we didn't do 2 attacks from the zombie last time. Gonna throw that in. And their combat skill is 40. We'll roll a D4 to see who they were attacking here. Dorlin again, so they need a 40, and they got 88, so they wouldn't have attacked that second time either. All right, back to the bag. Oh, we just need to do a 1 hit. All right, Bomber's gonna go. Come on, buddy. See if they're afraid. Resolve is 51. With a 90, they are afraid, so -10. Do a combat check here. 48. 98, it's not going to do it. All right, second attack. +10 for height. Need 58. 51. Okay, we should at least deal 1 damage, so we should be good. The short sword, yeah, it's 1d6 +2. The +2 is going to do it itself. Max damage. He's gone. All right. Out of combat. Let's roll on the treasure table. We'll do a quick search. Table 1, we're going to get 80 XP. Table 1's right there. Roll D10. It's a 3. So on a 3, we're going to get 10 coins. All right, and with that, I think we'll end this episode there. We've had a nice long episode, an epic adventure with 1 trap and 1 fight with a zombie. But that is just how much can happen and how much you don't really know what to predict here in League of Dungeoneers. I will continue this video and hopefully we'll get to it. But for now, we'll end it there. Thanks so much for watching. If you watched this far, let me know if I missed anything, which I should be making notes of and trying to juggle. There's so much to juggle, but that's kind of what makes it fun. And I'm sure I missed some things, but I tried to do my best. But let me know what I need to pay closer attention to if you notice anything. If not, just leave a like and say hello. Appreciate all the love on the League of Dungeoneers stuff so far. And we'll see you next time. All right, friends, thanks so much.